Stop waiting. The answer you are reaching for is not on its way. It is already here. God is. Christ is. Why would omnipresence arrive? Lo, I am with you always. The kingdom is not traveling across seas to find you. The kingdom of God is within you. Now, not later. Now, not when circumstances please your senses. Let there be a holy urgency without strain. For urgency is not effort. Urgency is recognition. Be still and know that I am in the midst of you. Then wait. I of my own self can do nothing. If you came to hear what I can do, you may as well leave now. It has to be God's grace. The activity of the Christ performs itself when there is room, when there is inner hush, when we cease tugging at effects and turn to the cause. Not all the truth that's printed in books will heal a simple headache, only realized presence does. So let loose right now your grasping for outcome. Release it, loose it, and let it go. Don't try to get anything. Let God be God. You have believed that the answer is time-bound, that it travels on a schedule, that prayer moves a distant deity. No, prayer moves you. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. The seeing is now. The salvation is now. What feels like delay is not absence, it is noise. It is our own reaching, our own thinking about God instead of realizing God. So we change posture. We do not reach, we receive. We do not perform, we become aware. We do not argue with appearances, we acknowledge presence. The criterion is simple, and we will hold ourselves to it with love. Remain with this until the peace is actually felt. Not imagined peace, not willed quiet, but that unmistakable inner settling, that gentle warmth that says without words, "It is I. Be not afraid." When that comes, it needs no outward proof. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. That is our sign. That is our Sabbath. We will walk this together, quietly and step by step. Sit with me inwardly now. Let the thought of persons and conditions pass by. Turn to the one. One thing have I desired, that I might know thee. We will wait. We will not measure minutes. We will simply be still until it makes itself known as peace. When it does, we will move. When it does not, we will not. So it is, and so we begin, not by stretching into the future, but by yielding to the presence already in the midst. Now we come to the tender question that keeps circling your heart. If God is, why does it feel as if nothing is happening? How can omnipresence be late? How can the one who says, "Lo, I am with you always," seem absent from your body, your bank book, your home? Listen gently. What feels like delay is not a gap in God. It is a tremor in us. Not God's absence, but our agitation. Not heaven's silence, but our noise. We are thinking about God instead of realizing God. You know, this pattern, you lift your thought to truth, and then after 2 breaths, you reach to your pulse to see if the ache has gone. You offer a prayer for supply, and then you check your account 3 times before breakfast. You declare peace in the home, and then you scan your partner's face for signs that they have changed. Each check is a tug at the sprout to see if it is growing, and you wonder why the root feels strained. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? The answer is none. The more tightly you grasp, the more you feel the thing slipping. The more you try to demonstrate supply, the less you have of it. The more you strive to make health appear as a separate achievement, the more you tighten the knot around the very place you wish to free. We are so accustomed to effects that we keep worshiping them, watching the thermometer, the market, the face across the table as if these were causes. Not so. Not the condition governing your prayer, but prayer awakening your consciousness of the cause. not the letter spoken into the air, but the spirit realized within. Be still and know that I am God. Knowing is not recitation. You can say 1,000 times, God is, and still live in fear. But one moment of realized presence, and the heart rests. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. That peace does not wait for the lab report or the rent notice to vanish. It quiets the heart before a single figure moves. There are no such things as many demonstrations. There is only one demonstration, the realization of the Christ. Health is not a thing you get. There is no health in and of itself. Supply is not an entity you pull into your room. Both are qualities and activities of God. Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things as realized presence. When you grasp at health, you are reaching for a shadow. When you consent to Christ, harmony reveals itself as health. When you strive for money, you clutch at symbols. When you rest in God, sufficiency appears in right form, at right place, in right time, without your strain. So the diagnosis is clear and kindly. We have been living at the circumference, peering at needles and faces, counting minutes and measuring outcomes, and calling that prayer. Let us be honest and relieved, not trying to fix conditions, but consenting to presence, not arguing truth at the storm, but turning within until the storm hears a greater hush. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The moment you cease checking, the heart can notice the one already here. The moment you lose the result, the living activity has room to show itself. Stand still, and you will see not later, but now the salvation that was never on the way, only awaiting your consent to be known. Now we come to the holy paradox that offends our habit and saves our life. The more we try to demonstrate supply, the less we have of it. The more we strain for health, the tighter grows the knot. Why? Because the thing sought as a separate object is a shadow, and shadows cannot be seized. Health and supply are not things. There is no health as a commodity. There is no supply in and of itself. Both are qualities and activity of God. Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things as realized presence. So let loose right now. Release it, loose it, and let it go. Loose your hand from the outcome. Loose your thought from the person. Stop trying to fix a husband, reform a child, convince a boss, or sweet talk a market. Take no thought for your life. Not because life is unimportant, but because the more we hold on to a thing, the less we have it. Jealousy proves it. Watch a woman or man clutch love with anxious eyes, shadowing every text, measuring every glance, and you can feel the warmth leaving the room. Love will not breathe in a closed fist. Supply tells the same story. Clamp your fingers around a few bills, rehearse loss, guard every penny with fear, and the river you hope to keep becomes a puddle under a sun of worry. Cast thy burden upon the Lord. Let the hand open, and watch the tide remember its path. There are no such things as many demonstrations. There is only one demonstration, the realization of the Christ. If you think you must demonstrate health, demonstrate a new apartment, demonstrate a reconciled home, you multiply shadows and chase them down corridors. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. One thing have I desired, that I might know thee. When the aim becomes singular, forms arrange themselves like obedient servants to a house already at peace. Harmony appears of itself, because harmony is the nature of God felt as the activity of your consciousness. So right here, with whatever name you have for your need, turn aside and surrender its name. Say within yourself, Father, I release this whole picture. I release this person from my claim, this bank account from my fear, this body from my tyranny. I of my own self can do nothing. Be thou the life, be thou the law, be thou the form. Then be still, not to bargain, not to peek at results, but to love God for God. Be still and know that I am God. No, not argue, not beg, no. Make this the pattern. God alone. Let the jealous hand unclasp. Let the anxious purse breathe. Refuse to seek effects. Seek the one. As you do, you will find the paradox turning true under your feet. When outcomes are loosed and God alone is sought, harmony appears of itself. Now let us make the distinction without which all our study turns to dust. Not all the truth that is written in our books, not all the memorized statements, not all the noble affirmations will heal a simple headache. You can line your shelves with wisdom and still lie awake at night. Why? Because the letter is not the life. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Words about God are not God. Theology is not presence. Reciting God is not the same as knowing, be still and know that I am God. I say to you as one who has read and taught and still must kneel, I of my own self can do nothing. If you came to be moved by my eloquence, you will leave as you came. It has to be God's grace. It has to be the living activity of the Christ in the midst of you and me that performs the work. Christ does not send peace as a package delivered to your door. Christ is peace when realized. Christ does not dispatch supply like a check in the mail. Christ is sufficiency appearing as need dissolves into presence. Christ does not project safety over your loved ones. Christ is safety when the one life is felt to be the only life. Be warned with love. Do not use affirmations as levers to move conditions. Do not take a holy sentence and try to pry open a bank vault with it, or push away a fever with it, or bend a person to your wish with it. That is still idolatry, only now the idol is a spiritual phrase you hope will work like a charm. Take no thought, turn within, let go of the condition, and seek God alone. Then wait. Wait until there is an inner assurance, a warmth, a quiet. It is I. Be not afraid. That assurance is the only credential we have. It certifies nothing outward, yet it changes everything inward, and then outer forms find their rightful level without strain. So we place the letter under the Spirit. We let the words point, and then we go where they point into silence. Sometimes in that silence, a scripture will rise unbidden, like my grace is sufficient for thee, not as a tool, but as a visitation, and with it the very grace it names. Sometimes there are no words at all, only a soft certainty. And in that certainty, the ache loosens, the fear thaws, the grip on money opens, not because you forced it, not because you arranged a result, but because realized presence is here. Let this be our practice and our safety. Cease trying to make truth do things. Consent to truth as being. The words do not heal. Realized presence does. And when you feel that inner yes, even faintly, rest there. That is the Christ risen, not buried in the tomb of your mind as quotations, but alive in your consciousness, doing the works the Father doeth. Now let us be exceedingly practical. When the phone rings with a need, when the letter lies open with a plea, when your own heart trembles over the symptom or the rent, here is the way. Withdraw your attention from the person. Withdraw it from the bank account, from the ache in the body, from the breaking news parading fear. Turn from the scene as from a play whose actors you love but cannot save by shouting from the seats, I of my own self can do nothing. Let that confession be your doorway. Sit down. If possible, close the door. If not, close the inner door. Get quiet. Let the mind cease from engineering, from planning, from petitioning. You are not here to inform God. You are not here to persuade omnipresence to be present. Be still. Place your awareness, not your words, your awareness in the heart of the truth we have been given. Be still and know that I am in the midst of you. The kingdom of God is within you. Let those words be not a lever, but a lullaby. Then wait. Do not barter with God. Do not peek at the clock or the symptom. Do not send thoughts to a patient or a partner. Do not try to influence a mind or a market. Leave persons and things entirely. We are not working in the realm of effects. We are consenting to cause. Abide quietly, without agenda, until something not of your making stirs, perhaps a soft warmth across the chest, perhaps a breath that drops deeper of its own accord, perhaps a phrase that is not you speaking. It is I. Be not afraid. Sometimes there is only a hush, a sweet loosening, as if a hand unclasped around your heart. That is the sign. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. When that peace registers, even faintly, cease your waiting. Rest in it for a moment more with gratitude and no ambition. That peace is the authority. That is the Christ risen in your consciousness. If in that peace an instruction comes, call now, write only one line, say nothing at all, go take your walk, obey simply. If nothing is given, then do nothing. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Let the action proceed from peace, never to get peace. If the peace has not yet come, remain. If you must return to tasks, carry the intent of this waiting and come back at the first opening. 6 minutes or 60 are not the point. Confirmation is the point. The method is not many steps. It is one consent. Withdraw. Be still. Know. Wait. And when the presence is felt, trust it entirely. Let it do the works the Father doeth. Now, let us speak plainly of the sign, for the soul loves to recognize its own. The confirmation of the now is not a trumpet. It is a hush. It is not fireworks. It is a feather settling. Often it begins in the body as if the very air changed pressure breath that had been held without your knowing loosens of itself and slides deeper. The chest, so long braced, softens. A warmth as gentle as a hand over the heart spreads without command. It is not imagination, for you do not manufacture it. It arrives as if from the center outward. Sometimes the brow unknits, sometimes the shoulders fall by a fraction, sometimes there is simply a sweetness, an unforced stillness that does not require you to hold it together. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, that is the way of it. At times it comes as a wordless yes, at times as an inner sentence not your own. I am here, fear not, be not afraid, it is I. If a phrase rises, let it rise like a bird from a hedgerow. Do not chase it, do not clutch it, receive it, and let it rest where it lands. Be still, and know that I am God. In that knowing, even a syllable suffices, and it carries with it the life it names. Now, while we are together, let us try a micro-practice. For the next half minute to a minute, do nothing. Stop reaching. Close the inner door. Withdraw your grasp from every outcome and every person. Place your awareness, not your words, in the truth. The kingdom of God is within me. Be still and know. Wait 30 seconds, 90 perhaps, but do not watch the clock. Wait for a small release, a softening, a single deep breath that comes on its own. If it comes, rest. If it does not, rest anyway, and return again later without disappointment. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Be patient, yet do not keep time. Time is a measurement of movement. Now is the awareness of presence. Mark, now not by the second hand, but by peace. Now is when the inner grip uncloses. Now is when the heart says, without words, enough, God is. Now is when the body ceases to be a project and becomes a temple again. No outer sign is needed. You do not wait for the doorbell, the phone, the email, the test. The only credential is the quiet that needs nothing to verify itself. And if nothing registers today, do not try harder. Loose it further. Return to release, return to silence. You are not manufacturing God, you are consenting to God. I of my own self can do nothing. Let the hush have you when it will, and it will, because presence is already here in the midst. The least consent opens the gate, and the least opening is. Now, when this peace dawns, do not imagine it is locked inside your chest like a private treasure, because there is only one soul in this room, one mind, one spirit. The realization of Christ in you is not yours alone. It is one life announcing itself through a point called you, and wherever consciousness is receptive, harmony registers. There is one body and one spirit. So it is that the hush in one heart can be felt as a loosening halfway across a town, halfway across a sea, not by human will, not by thought sending, by oneness. I, if I be lifted up, will draw all unto me. Lifted where? Lifted within. Understand this law, and you will cease the old magic of trying to shoot thoughts into another mind. We do not send peace as an arrow. We realize the presence, and presence radiates of itself as law. Christ is peace. Christ is sufficiency. When that Christ is realized, it becomes the law of harmony to any receptive consciousness. They will feel it without thinking of you. You may never be named. God will be praised, and that must satisfy the heart that has learned, I of my own self can do nothing. Here is the pattern when you are asked for help. Forget the person. Forget the name, the age, the diagnosis, the country. Sit down and turn within. Be still and know that I am God. Wait until the inward assurance comes, the warmth, the settling, the quiet. It is I. Be not afraid. Often in that peace, there is no instruction to speak at all. Sometimes a single sentence is given, one line, no more, rest now. Or the Father is on the scene. Then you send it simply, and sometimes you send nothing because the work is already done, and the only place work can be done in consciousness. I have watched this more times than I can count. A mother writes in anguish over a child in a hospital ward. I drop the letter and the picture of the child. I close the inner door, and I wait. Presently the peace rises, a soft certainty that God is. I write one sentence, all is well, rest, or I do not write at all. Days later comes a note. We do not know why, but at such and such an hour the fever broke. Strangely, I felt calm before the nurse said a word. They do not attribute it to you. Do not you attribute it to you. It is the Father that doeth the works. This is transmission, but not as the world thinks of wires and waves. It is the natural outshining of realized oneness. Let your light so shine, not to influence, not to dominate, but to reveal what already is. Hold to humility. We are witnesses, not workers. Keep to the method. Turn within. Be still. Wait for the felt Christ. Then let it be the law where it will at your kitchen table, in the stranger's night, in a nation's rumor of war. One consciousness, many harmonies. One Christ, countless forms of grace. Now let us bring it to the kitchen table, where figures, faces, and little feet meet the floor. Begin with money, because money so easily steals the breath. You sit with a pencil and the bills, rehearsing columns until your chest is tight and your eye twitches at the smallest subtotal. Stop. Put the pencil down. Loose the figures. Say within, Father, I release these sums into thy life. There is no supply in and of itself. Christ is sufficiency. Take no thought for your life. Be still and know that I am in the midst. Then wait 30 seconds, a minute until ease returns, until a soft warmth or a deeper breath arrives of itself. Only then decide. You will find that action born of that hush carries an authority and a gentleness, a call made without strain, a purchase naturally deferred, an unexpected line item you had overlooked, or a desire that simply dissolves. Do not congratulate yourself, thank God. It is the Father that doeth the works. Now jealousy, the urge to police the other's gaze, to audit their hours, to guard love like contraband, feel how that makes a prison for you both. Let loose right now. Say, Father, I release this one into thy care. My loved one is not mine, thine. I of my own self can do nothing. Be still. Wait until love registers, not as a grip, but as a warmth that does not demand. When that love is felt, speak if you must, and you will find the words are few and tender, without the barbs of fear. Often no speech is needed. Your ungrasping presence becomes the law of harmony in the room. Perfect love casteth out fear. Let love, not suspicion, be the atmosphere, and watch how freedom breathes where you had tried to manage. And the child at the crosswalk, how many hearts hold the breath right there? Do not project fear across the street. Realize the presence where the child is and where you are. One life, one mind, one law. Lo, I am with you alway. Close the inner door for a moment, even while your eyes are open. Father, thou art the goings out and comings in. Wait for the inward, yes, a small release, a quiet, it is I. Be not afraid. Then let the peace decide. Wave them on with a smile. Walk to the corner and take their hand, or call them back without alarm. Action following peace is firm without fright, clear without sharpness, and the child feels safety, not your nerves. Make these micropauses your sacrament through the day. Before the email, before the door opens, before you reach for the card, take one breath of be still. One breath Sabbaths scattered like seeds. Turn within, loose the outcome, wait for the inner yes. Notice the small harmonies that follow a clerk's kindness, a traffic light that spares you haste, a conversation that softens, and let them be confirmations, not trophies. Do not clutch at them. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Keep to the cadence, release, be still, wait, then move, and you will find that kitchen tables, street corners, and shared beds are governed by a presence that was here all along, awaiting only your consent to be known. Now lift your gaze from the kitchen table to the map of the world, and do not blink. God is, yet the world hates. Nations clench their teeth, borders bristle. The poor are herded into camps while warehouses overflow. Rumor of war rides the air, and the screens preach fear by the hour. Do not deny it. We are not called to shut our eyes to suffering. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. We refuse to enthrone appearances as reality. We acknowledge them as pictures on the screen of sense while we turn to the one who alone is cause. How do you match God is with this tangled field? Not by proclamation, not by painting the words across banners. Proclamation without realization changes little. You can shout God is love across a border, and the sentry will still tighten his grip on the rifle. But one realized Christ, one consciousness in which the Spirit of God is actually felt as peace becomes law in ways no headline can measure. Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ is a reality, if so be the Spirit of God dwell in you, not in your sentences, in you, not as a belief, as a presence. Then, without your psychologizing, hatred finds itself without breath, A corridor opens where there was only concrete. A hand unclenches at the very moment it might have struck. You may never hear of it. You must not need to. So we take our stand where we can make a stand within. I of my own self can do nothing. It has to be God's grace. Let there be a widening ring of quiet ones who consent to be still until the peace is felt, and then live by it. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the peace demanders, not the peace shouters, the peacemakers, those out of whom peace is made because it is realized. Ye are the light of the world. A light does not argue with darkness. It shines. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. One lamp in a room changes the character of the room. How much more 1,000 lamps in a city, 1,000,000 across the world? Refuse the old discouragement that says, what good is my silence against the cannons? Silence is not your weapon, God is. Your task is not to outshout hatred. Your task is to withdraw from persons and powers and turn within until the hush says, peace, be still. Then move as you are led. Write the letter that reconciles. Give the gift that opens a gate. Vote without venom. Feed the neighbor without a sermon. Action born of realized presence carries authority. It signs God's name, not yours. And do not limit the range of grace. Let there be no limit on how widely it may reveal itself, because there is one soul, one mind, one spirit. The peace realized in you is never contained. It radiates lawfully to any receptive heart across a table, across a city, across a sea. Hold this. Only realized presence in individuals can answer the world's hatreds in law and in fact, not argument, not agitation, not denial of appearance, but the quiet advent of Christ in consciousness again and again, spreading like dawn. Be still and know. Wait until it is felt. Then let it have you, and through you, let it have the world. Now let us set a rhythm, simple and tender, that lets the realized presence take the helm. Upon waking before your name returns to you, before the mind reaches for yesterday or tomorrow, be still. Turn within and acknowledge, Father, thou art here. I, of my own self, can do nothing. Wait only until the inner breath drops of itself or a small warmth answers. Do not strain for more. When the whisper comes, it is I. Be not afraid, offer a quiet thank you, and loose even that, then rise. 6 hours later, return. Close the inner door wherever you are, at a sink, at a desk, in a queue, and wait again for 30 seconds or a minute until peace nods. After that, each hour, a brief return, not a marathon, a sip, short, sincere waits, never long, tight sessions. We are not holding God, we are letting God hold us. Do not keep time with a fist. Keep fidelity with a smile. If the hour passes and you forgot, return when you remember without scolding. Pray without ceasing is not an endurance test. It is a cadence of consent. Be still and know, then move. Each small confirmation, answer with gratitude, but do not clutch at it. Thank you, Father. Then release the feeling and the form. Gratitude that grasps turns to anxiety. Gratitude that releases becomes trust. You will notice, as this rhythm settles, that activity begins to flow out of silence rather than out of your planning. Ideas will arrive whole, unlabored. Call now, cancel that trip, send only one line, wait till morning, take no thought what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. Action born of realized presence carries its own ease. It signs God's name, not yours. Decisions simplify, timing refines itself. People you meant to chase crossed your path without pursuit. Doors you had been knocking open from the other side. In storms, keep the cadence. Do not lengthen sessions with fear or bargain with God in the wind. Return, be still, wait for the hush, give thanks, and proceed from peace. In calms, keep the cadence. Do not let sunshine distract you from the source of light. Reliability builds receptivity. Receptivity makes a highway for grace. As you maintain the rhythm, you will find the presence initiating more than you initiate, orchestrating more than you manage. A call comes before you reach for the phone. A need dissolves before you name it. A word of reconciliation forms on your tongue that you did not compose. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Let this be our stability, gentle returns, frequent and unforced. Gratitude without grasping. Obedience without bravado. Regular returns to stillness allow the presence to govern more of your day. And as it governs your day, it will govern your way quietly, lawfully, until you discover that the cadence has become continuity, and the continuity has become a life not lived by you, but lived as you. For the life that I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God. Let it take over. Now, as the cadence settles, expect subtleties to appear and meet them with kindness. First, do not mistake emotion for presence. Tears may come. A loosening may feel like a sigh of relief because the pressure of worry lets up. That is human and often wholesome, but it is not yet the authority. The sign is quieter than emotion. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Sentiment rises and falls with a memory, a song, a story. Realized peace abides without a story, needs nothing to hold it up. How do you learn the difference? By quiet consistency. Return daily to the stillness without drama, and you will come to know the texture of the hush that needs no mood to sustain it. Another subtlety, checking results. The mind wants to peak. Is the pain less? Did the account improve? Did they call? Each glance outward to measure breaks the inner flow. Judge not according to the appearance. Choose abiding over measuring. When peace has registered, refuse the urge to test it against a dial or a doorbell. Rest in it. Let effects find their level without your supervision. Every look back for proof turns the heart from cause to effect. Turn back again within. Abide. Bargaining prayers betray the old grasping. If you will do this, I will do that. Let that go. God is not a negotiator, God is. One thing have I desired, that I might know thee. Return to the single desire. When you notice a bargain rising in the chest, smile, release it, and say, Father, thy will is my safety. I of my own self can do nothing. Then be still. And affirmations, how quickly we reach for a sentence to push the dark away. If fear is loud, your string of truths becomes noise in a storm. Fall back into silence first. Let the breath drop of itself. When the hush has come, a single phrase, be not afraid, it is I, may rise on its own and carry authority. The letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Let the Spirit give the word, or no word. Do not wait for visions or flashing signs. Some have them, most need them not. The prophet did not meet God in the wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire, but in a still, small voice. The ordinary peace is sufficient. It is the miracle unadorned. When agitation is strong, shorten the prayer. Do not strive to be holy. Be still. Let the breath do the kneeling. One gentle exhale and the wordless consent. Father, no more. If after a minute peace has not come, stop respectfully and return again soon, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. If you are unsure at any point, do not invent methods. Release again, be still again, and wait until peace is felt. Nothing more is needed. That peace is the Christ risen in your consciousness. Rest there and let the Father do the works. Now, beloved, let us rise into our one commission. Make the felt presence your only agenda. One thing have I desired, that I might know thee. Seek ye first the kingdom, not second, not after the plan is drawn. When this one aim is kept, all these things find their level without your grasping. Do not try to add the things. Hold to God, and the things that belong to God appear in their time, in their way, without sweat or strain. Let identity be transfigured here. I of my own self can do nothing. Say it without shame and feel the relief of it. You are not the architect. You are the instrument, not the source, the branch. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. A branch does not manufacture sap. It abides and bears. Yield yourself to the living Christ in the midst of you and let the Father do the works. Christ doesn't send these things. Christ is these things. Peace as peace, supply as sufficiency, safety as the one life realized. Rest your weight on that. Entrust your circle to the same presence felt in the quiet. Your loved one is not your possession. Release them into the bosom of the Father. Your task is not to hover or to frighten. Your task is to realize God where they are. Your work is not your source. Place it under the government of the inner hush. Your nation is not a God. Hold it within God. Lo, I am with you always. The very peace that answered you in silence is the law unto them as they are receptive. Because there is only one soul, one mind, one spirit, your realized Christ is never private. It radiates without words. Now I ask of you a lifelong experiment, simple and exact. Choose stillness before speech, peace before plan, now before next. Before the email, the answer, the purchase, the rebuke, be still. Wait until the warmth, the softening, the inward yes says, it is I. Be not afraid. Then move from that, and only from that. If the hush is absent, release again, and wait. Not long, not strained, just faithful. Let grace perform the work. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Carry these refrains with you like breath itself. Be still. Wait, let, again and again, be still, again and again, wait, again and again, let the Father do the works. Gratitude without grasping, obedience without hurry. If you forget, return. If you falter, release. If you doubt, wait. The presence has not moved. Your consent opens the gate afresh. I tell you with all tenderness and all certainty, this door once opened and kept will change the history of a life, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Today, not tomorrow, now, not next. Go in peace, and from peace. Let the Christ risen in your consciousness be your only call, your only credential, your only cause. And the forms, household forms, professional forms, world forms will find their level without your supervision. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Take, abide, and let it take over.